The world's largest country has just done the absolute unthinkable. Literally 2 days ago, they came out with this announcement here where they announced that they were going to be banning Bitcoin for 6 years in 10 different regions. And then the very next day, we can see Russia's finance minister came out and he actually said, yeah, for international trade. So today I want to be talking about what is Russia and the BRICS countries doing? Because let me tell you, I think they are playing 4D chess while countries like my own in Australia, we can't even get a handle on good old snakes and ladders, let alone checkers. We are really struggling. And I think a lot of these other Western countries like the UK, like Australia, we are not paying attention to what Russia and the BRICS countries are doing with announcements like this. So let's move on. Let's start telling the story of what is actually happening in Russia and the BRICS countries. Because a lot of people ask me to make a video on this topic right here. Russia enacts a 6-year blanket ban on Bitcoin mining in 10 different regions. What is going on? So we can see the ban actually begins on January 1st, 2025. And it's literally going to run until 2031. That's the craziest part. So we can see here they've listed all of the regions. As you can tell, this is definitely Russia because they ain't English regions, and there's no way you're going to get me to pronounce the names of those regions where Bitcoin mining is banned. But we can see this is why. But what's really interesting is it's not only Bitcoin mining pools that are banned, it's also individual crypto mining activities. So you can't even mine from home, which is a little bit interesting. And then we can see another data point that's also kind of caught my attention. Russian mining pool, E4 pool, shut down its operations earlier this month, citing regulatory restrictions. They said a month ago, to be a legitimate mining pool in Russia, you must register yourself in a special government list of mining operators. You must send all the data about your clients to the tax office. Our cypherpunk views can't match all of this. So that is what a Russian mining pool says. That was a direct quote. And again, this has been interesting because I think what's happening here is something very similar that's kind of what's been happening in China. Because we can see here publicly, Russia recently approved Bitcoin mining. And publicly, they're saying, yeah, cross-border exchanges, we're going to start using Bitcoin for that stuff. This is what they're saying publicly. And again, we jump back over here. This literally happened in November. And they've been talking about this all 2024. At least, especially since 2022, it's been pretty clear that Russia has been very open to Bitcoin mining. Even when you zoom back a little bit further, I could make a case that Russia's been involved in a really big way in Bitcoin mining for 3 years, 4 years even. I have an old school tweet that I threw out there in 2021. I actually wanted to show you guys because I tweeted this 2021. I said 2 weeks after Putin's speech at Davos, where he directly called out the central banking cabal, 20,000 Bitcoin miners were imported into Russia. And we can see the headline of this article. So again, this is 2021. This story in Russia has been building here for a little while. Russian miner imports 20,000 rigs, the largest ever batch. Now, from memory, this was also shipped. It was difficult to track who was actually receiving these Bitcoin mining rigs in 2021. So we can see here, documenting Bitcoin, tweeted out an unnamed Bitcoin mining center in Russia just became the largest in the country overnight with 20,000 new machines. I don't need to say the quiet parts out loud. It's fascinating what's going on here. Very fascinating what's going on here in Russia. But again, Russia has been saying some pretty interesting things about Bitcoin for a pretty long time here. Now, what else that's kind of happened recently that's caught my attention in Russia is this little story right here. Geez, if you guys know any good ad blockers, please blow me up in the live chat. I would love a good ad blocker. I'm struggling over here. But we can see here, Russia launches BRICS mining infrastructure project. What exactly is going on? Well, we can see here, Russia's largest data center operator, BitRiver, has partnered with the Russian Direct Investment Fund to build Bitcoin mining and AI computing facilities across the BRICS nations. The companies announced their plans at the BRICS Business Forum in Moscow, October 18th, 2024. Now, why exactly is Russia rolling out Bitcoin mining rigs across all of the BRICS nations? It's interesting, don't you think? So BitRiver right now currently operates 21 data centers in Russia with 10 more under construction. Russia's sovereign wealth fund, established in 2011, has invested over 2.2 trillion rubles across more than 100 projects. So the sovereign wealth fund of Russia is, as we say, balls deep into Bitcoin. I want to talk more about the central bank of Russia here in a moment. This has to be a ploy. I wonder if Vladimir Putin is Mr. 100. Of course, for those who don't understand the reference to Mr. 100 in the chat, we're talking about the anonymous Bitcoin whale who's quietly accumulated, 65,000 Bitcoin since 2022, I believe, is when Mr. 100 started buying Bitcoin. And it's all about the timing. Kind of lines up nicely with it being Vladimir Putin. Very, 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 very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. Nearly as fascinating as the fact that, again, let's not forget, Russia's a giant. Have a look at how much GDP they've got. 2 trillion. They have a $2 trillion GDP. They're a big, big country. And I think maybe they're doing something that China has done, which I find really fascinating and interesting for another reason. Again, Russia's got 143 million people. I might circle back to the comments in the live chat here in the moment after I talk about Russia a little bit more, because I've got a thought about Mr. 100 being an exchange. I got a spicy take on that. I do. Joseph Maloney, where is Josh and PJ? Speaking of PJ, I've got his glasses on. I got the orange goggles on according to Aqua FX. I'm sorry, Brett. I won't be losing the glasses. You have no idea how bright these lights are. And what is it? It's 11 o'clock over here in Medellin. So staring into oh my goodness, the white light is terrible for you. It actually blows your eyes up. So I'm sorry, Brett. If I'm going to do the late live streams for you, you're going to have to put up with the Bono-looking glasses. Hello from Texas. Again, I've kind of compared Russia to China a couple of times here. What do I mean by that? Well, China banned Bitcoin for its citizens, right? 2021, China said any citizens caught using Bitcoin, you're in big trouble. Any miners caught mining Bitcoin, you're in big trouble. We're banning Bitcoin mining. 60% of the global Bitcoin hash rate evaporated from the borders of China for about 6 months. And then in September 2021, after the Q1 ban, mysteriously, 20% of the global Bitcoin hash rate popped up back online in China. Again, we've been covering this since it happened. Again, it gave me alarm bells. I thought it was very interesting. From day one, I thought that this is the CCP mining Bitcoin. And somehow the citizens weren't allowed to use it, which again is really interesting. And again, this plot has thickened with China so much over the past couple of years. The Chinese courts tried to come out in 2023 and say Bitcoin was actually regarded as legal property in China, seemingly going against the CCP. And then obviously late 2023, early 2024, we saw Hong Kong, quote unquote, receive Beijing's blessing to become a global crypto hub. Hong Kong, a region controlled by the CCP in China, is openly saying we want to become a global crypto hub. And apparently there are Bitcoin meetings happening in Hong Kong. There were earlier in the year where CCP members were confirmed and cited in those meetings. And they're seemingly okay with what's going on in China. So again, my thesis on China is that the CCP is mining Bitcoin. The CCP is balls deep on Bitcoin. Think about it. China's had 50% of the global Bitcoin hash rate for many, 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 many years in the early days of Bitcoin, when the block rewards for Bitcoin were a lot more. Again, today, there's only 450 Bitcoin mined a day. What's the block reward? 3.15 Bitcoin. Back in the early days of Bitcoin, you were getting 50 Bitcoin a block every 10 minutes. So I don't think it's controversial to suggest that there's a lot of Bitcoin in China. I agree with Rock's comment here in the chat. All this flip-flopping and the banning and the unbanning and the banning and the unbanning. This is all incredibly bullish for Bitcoin. I agree, Rock. It does make Bitcoin stronger. And it makes governments look the way they do look. Stupid. Again, if a government bans something and then they have to say, yeah, well, we were wrong, we're going to unban this thing. It's huge. This recently happened in Morocco from memory. What are they, the 6th largest country in Africa or something like that? There are a lot of countries in Africa. And Morocco had banned Bitcoin since like 2017. Then the central bank came out a month ago. We did a video on it. And they said, yeah, you know what? We're unbanning it. We like this Bitcoin thing. So again, I think this is incredibly good for Bitcoin. It's a good analogy as well. It is like taking a dose of antibiotics. The virus would get stronger. Bitcoin is the unstoppable. I need to be careful with what I say here on YouTube. Bitcoin is unstoppable. That's something I can say here with conviction here on YouTube. And again, if you don't own any Bitcoin, I'd encourage you to go buy some Bitcoin. Okay, again, guys, I always encourage you guys. If you don't own Bitcoin today, while it's at $95,000 a coin, I don't know when you're ever going to buy Bitcoin. I'm actually interested. I want to have a look at what the price of Bitcoin is right now. Let's see if we're getting let's see if we can get a little bit of a late night pump going with Bitcoin. It's 11 p.m. where I am, so maybe the volume's a little bit lower. Maybe we're going to mark the local bottom for Bitcoin. We're at $92,000 a coin by my watch. Let's see what happens next. I honestly been completely checked out from the price, to be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit tired if you guys can't notice. Fuck, I'm sorry, guys. Really, I was holding that yawn in for a while there. It's 11 o'clock here in Colombia. Forgive me. I came back from Madrid yesterday, trying to get my sleep schedule fixed. But again, Bitcoin's at $92,000. It's an incredible opportunity. Incredible opportunity. please just take advantage of Bitcoin while you can today. Buy some Bitcoin. And then while you still can, withdraw your Bitcoin off an exchange. Convert your shares of Bitcoin ETF into real Bitcoin. Sell your shares of Bitcoin ETF, your BlackRock IBIT Bitcoin ETF, and buy the real thing. Okay. Again, I don't think you're going to be able to do that forever, which is why I always encourage you guys to go and back up your Bitcoin the way it should be backed up today. And that, of course, is on titanium. Okay, if you got your Bitcoin 12 or 24 words written down on paper, I really do think that that is not the way to go. Okay, I do think that I'm not going to make any, all I'm going to say is, guys, I just want you to protect your Bitcoin the way it should be protected. That's what I'm going to say, okay? Bitcoin is generational wealth, but it can only be generational wealth if it can actually survive for generations. Come on, Rock. You've been delaying it for too long. Punch those words into titanium. It's really not that difficult. I had to, my luggage today was about 8 kilos. One bag was 8 kilos over. The other bag was also like 5 kilos over. And I was looking for things to throw out. And again, traveling with titanium plates, they're obviously heavy. They're titanium. These things are going to be literally lasting for generations. I just couldn't do it. I was throwing out a ton of stuff I didn't need, and there was no way I was throwing these puppies out. Because I have a couple of spare plates that I have for the future, and I just plan to play around with. But again, don't wait around. Punch your words into titanium. You guys can get 15% off anything you want to buy from Stampseed with a promo code Luke15. Link down below. Check that out. Go and protect your Bitcoin. Something we all need to do. Something else we all need to do is maybe we need to learn more about Bitcoin. Because again, to take self-custody of your Bitcoin, it's not something you do when you first learn about Bitcoin. It happens when you've built some conviction and you understand what you own. Okay, and we all understand that it does take time to build conviction, to truly understand Bitcoin. This is why I'm a big fan of education, guys. That's why we make these videos. Again, we've made 400 live streams across the 3 YouTube channels I have in 2024, purely talking about Bitcoin, Bitcoin-only stuff, Bitcoin-only companies, Bitcoin-only education, because I do think it is incredibly underrated. And it's an underserved market, let's be honest. So again, if you're someone who maybe cannot handle my dodgy Australian accent, and you prefer to get your Bitcoin education in other forms, I'd always encourage you guys to get your hands on what I think is one of the best Bitcoin starter books. That is Bitcoin Evangelism, written by Brian DeMint, founder of the Orange Pill app, planting seeds for the decentralized revolution. I would encourage you guys to check it out. It's a great Bitcoin starter book. Again, there are a lot of really good books in Bitcoin. Some of them are a little bit complicated. Some of them are a little bit dense. Bitcoin Evangelism is perfect. It's a good entry level book. So again, if you have a friend or a family member on the fence, send them Bitcoin Evangelism. No promo code, just check it out. It's a good book. Okay, so let's talk more. We have some more comments and questions. I do want to talk a little bit more about Russia. I do want to answer some questions though. What do you think about the Tether FUD? I think it's FUD. I've been screaming from the rooftops for a long time about Tether. I do think, again, in 2021, it was not popular to say this in 2021. I wrote a 10,000 word article, which I was going to turn into a book called The Bitcoin Milkshake Theory, where my entire thesis, my entire case was that Bitcoin monetizing is good for the US dollar. At the time, I said, look at the stablecoin market. It's gone from 0 to 100 billion between 2018 and 2021 when I wrote the article. And I said, what's interesting is as Bitcoin monetizes and proliferates around the world, so are US dollar stablecoins. As people find a digital store of value in Bitcoin, some people also want a digital medium of exchange. That is going to be the US dollar. And the whole thesis of my whole thesis for many years now has been that if those US dollar stablecoins are backed by US government debt, this is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin and the US dollar. As much as people hate to say that, a lot of people think the US dollar is going to hyperinflate tomorrow. I don't. I think it'll be the last fiat currency to collapse. As Michael Saylor says, all fiat currencies are going to collapse into the dollar and all property is going to collapse into Bitcoin. So again, in 2021, at the time, Tether had half of its reserves. It had like 80% of its reserves in like all of this risky, unnamed China commercial paper, all of this really risky debt, right? That was Tether's reserves that were backing the stablecoin. But when around a third of their reserves were US treasuries and they started aggressively buying US treasuries in 2021, I said, this is a trend change. Keep an eye on this. If Tether does buy more and more US government debt, and if they are true to their word and they're going to buy more safe US government debt and dump their risky Chinese commercial paper, I think this is an indication that Tether will be used as the digital version of the dollar online. At the time, I was called a nutcase. Okay, the Tether truthers were out in arms in 2021. Again, the FUD around Tether was huge. But now Tether's squatting on what? $100 billion worth of US treasuries. Over 90% of their reserves are in Bitcoin and US government debt. So as more people want stablecoins, more people are buying US government debt at a time when the world is dumping US government debt. China, Japan, even the Middle East, slowly but surely, they're not using US dollars to accept payment for their precious oil. At a time when the world is dumping US dollars and US government debt, Tether and US dollar stablecoins, all of them, Circle, backed by US government debt, even MakerDAO, squatting on a lot of US government debt. All of these stablecoins are interestingly backing themselves by US government debt. And I believe, like I said, 2021, a proliferating stablecoin market will be the sugar daddy for Uncle Sam and that $36 trillion of debt he has. I mean, Michael Saylor could dump his 450,000 Bitcoin. Price would be affected in the short term, and we get an incredible buying opportunity. So to answer the question, Max, if you don't want to rewind this live stream to the beginning, I think it's interesting that it's becoming more and more difficult for the everyday person in Russia to buy Bitcoin. At the same time that they're enacting 6-year bans in 10 regions in the country, they're using it for international trade at the governmental level. I think that's strange. Thank you, Ryan. It is called the Bitcoin milkshake theory. Tried to steal the name from Brent Johnson's US dollar milkshake theory. Well, that said, guys, 621 of you guys tuning in between Twitter and YouTube. I wonder how many of you guys agree with this. Look, the dollar's obviously going to lose purchasing power to goods and services, to Ryan's point. But I think compared to other fiat currencies, it will be the last one standing. Shout out George from the Philippines. I apologize to those who have had to deal with my red glasses tonight. I'm trying to take my health a little bit more seriously, trying to get some more sleep. And got these two big bright, I wish I could show you guys, these two big bright white lights smashing me in the face. These glasses actually do a great job at dimming that light. So again, I apologize if I have the glasses on from time to time and trying to get some better sleep. Because again, health is important. Speaking of health, we all know health insurance is a scam. The large majority of providers in the health insurance industry are a scam. But health is something that's close to my heart, which is why I've recently partnered up with a Bitcoin-backed health insurance company called Crowd Health. So again, if you're interested in life insurance, don't put it off. Again, a lot of people are making all of these health-related New Year's resolutions. Why not take action? Go get some health insurance from a Bitcoin-backed company. They're Bitcoiners, and they're giving you guys a massive discount for your first month if you sign up using a promo code Green Candle. One word, Green Candle. You get your first 3 months for 99 big ones. So again, highly encourage you guys to look after your health, because again, your health is your wealth. As corny as it is to say, you can have all the Bitcoin in the world, but if you're unhealthy and if you die 20 years earlier than you should, what good was that Bitcoin? McLovin's joined the stream. How about this? How about we try to end the stream with McLovin being the last one to join? Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. We got 638 of you guys tuning in at 11:11. It's 11:11. Make a wish with me live on this stream. It's 11:11. Make a wish. I don't know if that's just an Australian thing, but it's 11:11. I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to see you guys in another live stream, more than likely tomorrow. Oh, just as I hit end stream, Rock sends $100 super chat. Bro, happy new year to all. Everybody thank Rock VTM for his continued support to the channel. 11:11. See you, legend. Dude, way too much love being sent from you. I appreciate it, Rock VTM. Everybody thank Rock for the New Year's Eve present. And all they said, guys, I am going to try to end this one here. See you guys in another live stream tomorrow on New Year's Eve. We're going to be cranking some more live streams, so stay tuned for that.